Welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about excretion. Okay, excretion is basically the first session, and we want to understand what is this process of excretion and what are the waste products that have to be removed from organisms, and what are the different mechanisms through which these waste products have can be removed, and why do they really need to be removed? So those are the questions that we shall be answering in this presentation. Excretion is the process of eliminating waste products of metabolism from the body. Okay, so to explain that definition further, what we are basically saying is that you have waste products that are produced as a result of metabolic processes. So what are these metabolic processes? In our bodies, we have different reactions taking place, different chemical reactions taking place in our bodies, and we call them metabolic uh, processes, okay, or metabolic reactions, okay. Different chemical processes taking place within the body. All these metabolic activities um, happen in our bodies, and they produce waste products. Okay, remember we say that a cell is a fundamental unit um, of life. Therefore, this is to mean that a cell can carry out um, metabolic processes, okay, that a whole organism, which is multicellular, can also carry out. Okay, so whether it is a unicellular organism, whether it is a multicellular organism, you are still going to have uh, metabolic processes happening, and you're going to have waste products being released. So these waste products have to be removed. So the process of removal of waste products of metabolism uh, from the body is what we call excretion. Remember, metabolic processes can be categorized into two: um, anabolic reactions, anabolic metabolism. These are the ones we can call synthesis. They involve synthesis. What does this refer to? It means that you're building a new product which is more complex from simpler reactants. Okay, so you building synthesis is about making a new product. So that is an anabolic reaction. Catabolic reactions are the ones that involve the breakdown of um, complex molecules into simpler ones. Okay, catabolic reactions. Okay, so whether the metabolic reaction is catabolic or anabolic, you will have waste products being produced. So these waste products have to be removed from the body, because if they are not removed, they are going to create a toxic internal environment, and this will disrupt um, hemostatic processes. Okay, what we are saying that these waste products are toxic, and they can damage the cells around. So you want them to be eliminated as soon as possible, such that you keep the environment, the internal environment, balanced. Okay, if you remember the process of homeostasis, which is that the interest is to have uh, the internal environment constant. You don't want to see a lot of uh, a lot of changes happening. So the excretion process is very important because the waste products are toxic and they have to be removed from the body. Otherwise, they will cause changes within the body, what we are calling the internal environment, and this will disrupt the normal internal environment of the organisms, of the cells. Okay, so that is why it is very important. But also excretion is also very important in a way that if the body releases, let us say, a waste product, a waste product A, and that waste product A is a toxic one, what happens is that 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 waste product has to be converted into a component or waste product that is less toxic. Okay, so instead of having A as the waste product to be excreted, the waste product A has to be converted to a waste product B because B is less toxic, it is less poisonous. Okay, so that's why excretion becomes very important in organisms. So we have different excretory products or waste products. We can also use the word waste products of metabolism. We have a number of them. Some of these waste products are only found in animals and not in plants, but we also have those that are found in plants and as well as in animals. So, for example, carbon dioxide, which is a waste product of cellular respiration. Okay, the breakdown of nutrients, whether proteins, whether carbohydrates, uh, whether fats, to release energy in the form of ATP, and then carbon dioxide is also produced, and also water is usually produced. Okay, so carbon dioxide has to be eliminated from the body, okay, of organisms. So carbon dioxide is one of the waste products of metabolism. So we have different organs that can be used for eliminating this carbon dioxide. Um, in in humans, the lungs play an important role, but we also have different gaseous exchange surfaces in different organisms, the gills, in the fish, and when we talk about the plants, we'll have the stomata playing an important role in the exchange of gases. Okay, so carbon dioxide is produced by both the plants and the animals. Okay, although for the plants, they can reuse, the plants can reuse the carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Okay, so that is something that you need to note there. And then the excess water has to be eliminated. So water is needed by the organisms for different reasons. Okay, but if it is excess, it has to be removed. So excess water is a byproduct of respiration. Okay, remember the respiration gives us ATP, that is the energy that we use to do work, but also to do metabolic processes such as uh, active transport, such as impulse transmission, and the other biochemical reactions or other metabolic reactions that involve synthesis or even catabolism. Okay, so water is produced, and if it is the excess, it has to be eliminated. So we often call that water metabolic water. Okay, we call that metabolic water. Okay, so the excretion of water, excess water, is through mainly through the kidneys in humans, and also through sweat. Okay, the through the kidneys through urine, and then through sweat we eliminate excess water. The other products, we can classify them as nitrogenous wastes. Okay, nitrogenous wastes. Where do these wastes come from? The wastes come from the breakdown of amino acids. Okay, amino acids. When they are broken down, remember amino acids are the building units of proteins. Okay, so if you have many amino acids combining, we have peptides, and then we have polypeptides. Okay, and then forming complex protein structure. Okay, so when we break down this complex protein structure, more nitrogenous waste products are formed. So these nitrogenous waste products include ammonia, urea, and then uric acid. They have unique properties, and it's very important to know these properties because it is very easy to predict which organism secretes what if you know the properties of these nitrogenous waste products. So ammonia, for it is highly soluble and it requires a lot of water for excretion. Why? Because it is toxic. Okay, the water is needed to make it less toxic and actually remove it since it is very soluble. That means that organisms that live in water are the ones that excrete ammonia. I hope you get that. So these organisms are the ones we call the aquatic animals, the organisms or the animals that live in water bodies. Okay, so ammonia is excreted by organisms in water because it is ammonia is soluble and is highly toxic and requires a lot of water for excretion or for removal. And then urea is the next one that follows. It is less soluble in water and therefore requires less water for excretion. But again, it has another benefit that it is not as toxic as ammonia. Okay, so therefore, most animals uh, produce ammonia, including human beings. They excrete ammonia. Okay, and then uric acid, for it is still is insoluble and requires very little water for excretion. And insects and birds and then the reptiles can secrete uric acid. Okay, insects, birds excrete uric acid because it requires less water for excretion. Okay, the other waste products are biopigments, which are produced from the gallbladder. Okay, they are very important. These pigments are very important in different metabolic processes, but they also come from the breakdown of red blood cells. Okay, they come from the breakdown of red blood cells, so they also have to be eliminated. And if they are not eliminated, you have metabolic disturbances. And then we have mineral salts. Okay, these one also have to be eliminated through urine. Okay, then the sweat contains some minerals. And then the drugs that we take, they have to be eliminated. Um, when you take a drug, it is broken down by the liver mainly, and then part of it will have to be eliminated and be cleared from the blood. So it becomes a waste product. And then also hormones, some of the minor waste products that we can talk about. So in summary, we have talked about carbon dioxide, water, we have talked about the nitrogenous wastes, which include ammonia, urea, and uric acid, and then we have talked about the biopigments and the mineral salts and hormones and drugs are some of the waste products. So we want to let's go systematic look at where they are produced and how they and the organ responsible for removing them and where in which organism are they produced. Okay, that is the table that we are looking at. So let's start with carbon dioxide. I stated that carbon dioxide is produced in animals and in plants, okay? And it comes as a um, result of cellular respiration, okay? Which we said is the breakdown of nutrients release energy that will be used by the organisms, okay? So how is it eliminated? Through respiratory surfaces or gaseous exchange surfaces. In humans, we have the lungs, and in animals, in the plants, we talk about the leaves through the stomata. Okay, and then the oxygen is also a byproduct of photosynthesis in plants that can carry out photosynthesis. Okay, so oxygen is a byproduct of photosynthesis and it is eliminated through the leaves, and sometimes some plants use the stems for gaseous exchange. Okay, so we move to excess water. Excess water still produced by all living organisms, okay, whether plants, whether animals, and it comes from metabolic processes, what we call the metabolic water earlier on. And for humans, the kidneys play an important role, the skin, and then the lungs. When you exhale, exhalation, breathing out, that air that comes out contains moisture. So the lungs can play an important role in eliminating excess water. For plants, the stem and the leaves play an important role in eliminating excess water. Biopigments, when the red blood cells are broken down, the process called hemolysis, process of breaking down these red blood cells, what we call hemolysis, we have biopigments being produced, and these have to be eliminated because they are toxic. So the liver plays an important role in vertebrate animals in eliminating these biopigments. And then ammonia comes from the breakdown of proteins or amino acids, and this happens in the liver, and many aquatic organisms produce ammonia as their waste product. Urea produced by humans as a excretory product of protein metabolism, more specifically the amination of amino acids. Okay, so mammals that live on land and some aquatic organisms can produce urea. Okay, remember, urea is less toxic than ammonia and requires less water for excretion than ammonia. Uric acid, also a nitrogenous waste produced through deamination of amino acids, and the kidneys play an important role, and we have the birds and the insects producing this, and the reptiles too. Okay, so we have looked at the different excretory products where they are produced, that's the sources, and then also the animals that produce these waste products. Now let's look at the mechanisms through which these waste products are really eliminated. So we have diffusion as one of the major methods actually. In some organisms, like the amoeba, diffusion is the main way through which waste products are eliminated. Okay, um, and then we also have um, higher organisms. This means these are complex organisms that are multicellular. They have specialized excretory organs for eliminating these wastes. Okay, so the examples of these organs are the ones that we have mentioned earlier on. You have the lungs, you have the gills for fish, you have the urinary system, okay, where we have the kidneys and the rest. Okay, so this um, we have organisms that are very simple, that rely on simple diffusion, and then we have complex organisms that need to have a complete system to handle this removal of waste products. Okay, so the different processes that happen in each of these organs is something that we'll look at in our subsequent sessions. So let's look at how diffusion really happens for a simple organism like the amoeba. We are saying that diffusion is when molecules move from the area of low solute concentration to area of high solute concentration. Okay, so the amoeba, the waste products, for example, uh, carbon dioxide can just move across um, the membrane and basically get into the surrounding. Okay, so small soluble waste products like carbon dioxide just move. So we can depict it here. Here you see that water, for example, water can move in and out just by diffusion. Carbon dioxide can move out just by diffusion, you can see there. What you can call an excretory part of the amoeba is the contractile vacuole, which is a small sac that can collect this excess water, ammonia, and other waste products and push them out when it contracts. So you can say that the process of excretion in an amoeba is very simple. Okay, how is it very simple? Because we are saying that carbon dioxide and other soluble waste products can just diffuse out, okay, through the cell membrane, what we have seen here and here. And then for excess water and other waste products, they can be collected in the contractile vacuole, and then when when it contracts, it pushes them out, and excretion is done. So that is what happens for the amoeba. So why is the diffusion very sufficient for the amoeba? Why? Because the amoeba is actually a very small organism. So it's a unicellular organism. So that means that it is not very complex. It is very small, and that means that the distance for these waste products to diffuse is very small. A small or short distance, uh, the short distance that these organisms cover is what makes it a very reliable way of removing waste products. The other thing is that the waste product, ammonia, which the amoeba excretes, um, is soluble in water, and this makes it very easy to diffuse. So that's the second, the high solubility of the ammonia. The contractile vacuole. Okay, is another structure within the amoeba that carries out excretion, especially for excess water and other waste products that cannot easily diffuse. And then the membrane that the amoeba has is very thin. This facilitates diffusion. And then the fact that the surrounding environment of the amoeba is moist, that means has water, enables diffusion to easily happen, especially for gases like carbon dioxide. For plants, we have looked at the different waste products from the plants. And for them, we want to state it here that they don't have a very elaborate system for removing waste products. Okay, so why is that so? The plants actually produce the food that they need. They are photosynthetic, isn't it? So that means that for them, they're in control. They make the food that they want. So that means that they actually have less waste products compared to animals that have to depend on other sources for nutrients. Okay, so you have an animal having excess food that they have obtained from other animals. Okay, so that means that the rate at which waste products are made is also higher. Okay, assuming we don't have to assuming our body just makes the food that we need, it means you're not going to eat excess foods because the body will know that this is what I need and this is what I'm making. Okay, so that is why plants do not have a very complex system for removing waste products. The other reason is that for them, they don't actually have to remove these waste products. And actually, these waste products for plants, they are not very toxic. They're not very toxic and they can be kept or stored in other parts of the plant. For example, the leaves, the bark, uh, the, the waste products can be there. And then when time reaches, these leaves can be shed and then basically they go with the waste products. Okay. And the other reason is also that you see these plants, they the the raw materials for photosynthesis include uh, carbon dioxide. Yet carbon dioxide is actually produced by cellular respiration. So this is to say that the plants have the ability to reuse some of their waste products. So in this case, the water can be reused. Our bodies carry out metabolic processes, and these metabolic processes give us waste products. These waste products have to be eliminated from the body because if they don't, if they are not removed, then they will accumulate. Okay, and this will disrupt the internal environment of the body. An issue to do with disturbance of the homeostatic systems. Okay, so therefore they need to be removed. And we said that carbon dioxide, excess water, nitrogenous waste like urea and uric acid and others need to be eliminated. And different organisms use different excretory organs for removal of these wastes. Thank you.